Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Sadie and Friends. Just reminding you to go ahead and check out the folks at Garage Door Service and Sales. You know, recently the keypad on our garage door broke. You really don't know how much that disrupts your everyday life until it happens. And that's why I'm so glad to know the folks at Garage Door Service and Sales, because Patrice, her and her family, they have owned this business for decades. So many decades, in fact, I wasn't even alive. And I've been alive for like a really long time. They were chugging away for 2 decades before I showed up. And I'm so glad that I now have people to call, whether it's something small like the keypad on the garage door, it's just being funky, or maybe it's something big like, hey, we want to completely change the look of our home, so we want a new garage door. That's what they do at Garage Door Service and Sales. So give them a call today, or better yet, go online to see what they have to offer. GarageDoorServiceandSales.com. Garage Door Service and Sales, a proud sponsor of the Sadie and Friends podcast.
I'm going to say the thing you're not supposed to say.
Let's talk about marriage.
They have like a 2-second rebound rate and you're back doing the next pain in the ass thing.
Parenting. Oh my gosh.
They have sucked the pretty right out of me. They treat me like it, and I do their laundry. Lucky me.
Sex.
I'm caught between two evils. I generally like to take the one I never tried.
Scary stuff like ghosts. I know it's totally out of left field, but just go with me on this.
Boo, you whore.
Love.
And give you what you need. That's all. I'm talking about taking care of each other the best you can. What's wrong with taking care of a woman? She takes care of you.
Friendships.
Wink and her necklace says best friends forever.
Sure you want it to say forever? I don't think you guys will be best friends forever, no offense. But sometimes you grow apart, and maybe she'll find a new best friend. They end up doing everything together.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of Sadie and Friends. And I'm so excited because I found a channel that only plays Highway to Heaven. Oh. I don't know. We have cable, but we have Xfinity. And for some reason, you can't get it on the TV that I have in the studio. But it does have this super random cable where it's like, there's a channel that's dedicated to Murder, She Wrote. There's a channel that's dedicated to Price is Right, the Bob Barker years. There's a channel dedicated to...
Do you think that you just miss being 8 years old?
I feel like I miss Highway to Heaven. If you don't know what this show is, it was such sweet 80s, and it's about Michael Landon. And he is an angel, and he comes down to help people. I know it sounds so corny, but it makes me think of like such a simpler time of being at my grandma Kaler's house, and she had a little TV in her kitchen. And this was back when there was no gratuitous sex. There was no violence. It's like Highway to Heaven is the most cleansing of the soul show, I think, on TV. Okay,
I could go with that. But an innocent time, it was only innocent because you didn't have to deal with anything. You were 8.
Yeah, but no, if you watch this show, if you watch Murder, She Wrote, if you watch any of these shows from the 80s, they don't really tackle...
The shows themselves, sure. But there was still all that stuff going on. You know what I mean? Like, it was still bad in the 70s.
But not on TV. I feel like at one time TV was kind of a place to go where everything worked out in the end, and... At the end of every episode, you know, like before you came up, there was an episode of Highway to Heaven, and I was...
So this is your second episode of Highway to Heaven.
It was like hell. It was like almost done.
Yeah.
But it was about this elderly teacher, and he doesn't want to quit, but the school board is making him, and he has to take a test, and they rig the test so he can't do it.
Sure.
And then at the end, the angel Michael Landon helps him pass the test. And by answering everything.
Oh,
I know. I want a cheating angel.
Yeah. I want to hear just more about these wonderful plot lines. Oh my God. This is intriguing.
So the angel.
Yeah, I was kidding.
Let me just finish the story. It's really quick. And so anyway, he passes and everybody's like, hooray, in the town hall, and all the kids are chanting. And, you know, like, not one of them has like a tattoo of a teardrop, or, you know, like has...
Or YOLO on their lip.
Or has like a see-through shirt where you could see the nips, or anything weird like that. Sure. It was just like a simpler time. And I wanted to talk, you know, I will agree with that.
Like, talk about video games. Like back then, the video games were like Super Mario Brothers and RBI Baseball and Zelda
and Duck Hunt.
And now it's like Grand Theft Auto. How many prostitutes can you kill?
How many prostitutes can you fit in the trunk of a car?
Oh, God.
It's so tragic. And it really makes me think if we've made this much of a jump from the 80s to now.
The 20s.
Mean, now it's like if you and I live to be 80 years old, say we live to be 80.
I hope so. Plus.
I hope so, too. I think you're going to live longer than I am.
Yeah.
Because, thank you for
I agree with that. Yeah.
Because in your family, people live very long.
They do.
And in my family, we have heart problems. And so we all die quickly.
Okay.
And it's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. And, but I think if we make it to our 80s, it scares me to think of like what it will all be like. You know what I'm saying? Like what will, if it's this way now,
sure.
Like if I can watch Highway to Heaven and be like, oh, everything works out in the end. And now I watch a show and that never happens. Can you think of a show that ends where no one was murdered, there's no sex, and everything in the end works out and everybody hugs and there's very quiet, gentle music?
I was literally just going through shows and I'm all like Game of Thrones. Nope. Breaking Bad. Nope. Better Call Saul. Nope. Sopranos. Nope. I'm like, oh, man.
And I understand, like, that's the reality of life. It's not like that wasn't, mobsters weren't a thing back then. Murder, sex wasn't a thing back then. But it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, but the Full House days, the Family Ties days. Yeah.
And, there's just something about shows from the 80s. And I think it's because of the music. It's very calming.
You know what's crazy?
Oh, my God, the Golden Girls.
Golden Girls.
Thank you for being a friend.
The 80s and 90s, it's nuts. Not nuts. I was just noticing it. These TV shows had like full on like 4-minute openings with music and like theme songs.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's just like done.
Boobs.
Yeah. There you go. Prostitutes.
Boobs.
There we go.
Yeah. So, and oh my God, like it's on in the background. Look at that dude. He's wearing a leather bomber jacket with a popped collar.
Pointing a finger.
Pointing a finger.
That's as crazy as it got. Someone pointing a finger at you.
And it just makes me laugh. I don't know. It's very calming to me. And I think in this world where, being an adult can be really tricky. And it's nice to kind of take a step back. And it makes me sad that our kids are only going to know the time of Grand Theft Auto and putting hookers in the trunk.
Now they'll have innocence, right? So I think it's all relative and subjective to that individual person. So yeah. I think they'll have innocence.
Well, fingers crossed.
Talking about what you're talking about and wanting a simpler time and just to be a little bit more free. Did you hear about this dude that is sailing from Oregon to Hawaii?
You have to tell this because this is so funny to me.
Okay. So this guy was working at a corporate job, nothing too crazy. Sounds like a discount tire or something like that, but on the corporate level for like a decade. And he was in Oregon and just made a post where he was like, I'm really tired of this. Like, I don't like my life. I don't like what I'm doing. And he was single, just had a cat and whatnot. And he's like,
just has a cat.
I think I'm going to sail to Hawaii. And he's like, I've never sailed. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't have a boat. He's like, I think I'm going to do it. And over the course of a year, he liquidated his 401k, bought a $50,000 sailboat, like nothing too big, right? Taught himself how to sail on a river just a little bit. And here, as of like 2 weeks ago, he got in his boat in Oregon and was going to make the 2,400 mile trip or whatever it is to Hawaii by himself with his cat. And so he's got an Instagram page now that's got like 1 million followers. It had nothing.
And what's the Instagram page?
Sailing with Phoenix. And Phoenix is his cat. And it's just this goofy guy just talking about like, yeah, I only got a can of Pringles left. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm running out of beef jerky. And then just makes these random videos of him sailing to Hawaii. He's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean now.
How do you explain the popularity? Because I would explain it. It's relatable.
Yeah. Everyone's like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, there's nothing stopping us from living a simpler life and getting out of the rat race except for fear.
Yeah.
And so that's why this Instagram, this guy, what he's doing is really inspiring because I think everybody has dreamt about like just telling their boss to shove it and getting on a sailboat and leaving town.
And he did it. So he just, he posts videos all the time and stories. And he's a quirky, relatable dude. I don't know, it's fun. But he was like yesterday, day 13 or whatever it was of traveling. He's like, I just crossed 1,000 miles doing this. And he's like, before I did this trip, the furthest I've went was 78 miles on a river. And now I'm in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
How
by myself.
scary. Can you even imagine? Which, not to go down a dark road.
Okay.
But did you see that yesterday there was a couple in their 60s in Florida, which I am convinced all the weird stuff happens in Florida.
Florida, man.
And they were both canoeing.
This wasn't yesterday.
Was it not yesterday?
This was like a week or two ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
and they were
so
canoeing in just like 2-3 feet of water or something like that.
And they accidentally canoed over an alligator.
And it hit them over.
And the alligator started thrashing it, knocked the canoe over, and it ate the woman.
Yeah.
And the husband that's just insanity to me. Alligators are just the most rogue.
Dinosaurs.
They're just like we've heard stories of them coming up on land and just grabbing people and pulling them back in. And it's just, oh my gosh, I'm sorry to go dark, but
but water, I get it.
But I mean, but
this
water.
guy's scary. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like this guy's dealing with sharks. Because I follow him now too, and he'll take like videos of dolphins, and how neat is that?
Yeah.
My big fear wouldn't be sharks and all that stuff. It would be like, what if a storm came?
Yeah. Well, one of the videos, he was like taking a video of a sunset and he posted over there and he goes, that's a squall. I don't like that. That won't be good. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that if this guy makes it without any type of storm, that would be my fear, is running into a storm and not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And then, like there goes Phoenix, the cat. Very dark. I'm sorry.
Okay, great.
Dark place.
I get it, but I guess it'd be scary. The same thing if you were to do that, right?
Yeah.
If we were like, hey, let's just sail to Hawaii and then live there and see what's up, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, I feel like
that'd be the fear.
I feel like experienced sailors run into problems. So what this guy's doing is insane. Do you think, though, have you seen any comments on what he's posting? Because I know that there's probably a lot of people who are like, go for it. You're doing great. But I wonder how many experienced sailors or like first responders who have to go out and rescue people are like, you dumbass.
I bet you, if anything, they're probably giving him advice. Like he was working on something and it sounded like people were giving him advice on what to do.
See, that's good.
Yeah.
We all got to get this damn cat to Hawaii.
Oh, man.
And then what is he going to do when he gets there? He has no more money.
I have no idea. So I know there's a GoFundMe page where he asked for like $10,000 to help like raise money for this, that, and the other on the trip. The last I saw, which was a couple days ago, it was over 50 grand.
Aren't GoFundMe pages are so funny to me because, some of them are very necessary, when it's medical bills.
That a third of GoFundMes are to cover medical bills.
See, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And that, again, we talked about that a little bit yesterday, but I have seen GoFundMe pages where people want to go on a vacation. I saw one where a guy that's what this guy's doing.
He
was like, no, his friends were all going to Cabo and he wanted to go to Cabo too. And I'm thinking, well, I want to go to Cabo. Will you give me some money?
Sure.
And then, what's like a popular trend that I see, which is insane to me, are people asking for money for their birthday. They're like, it's my birthday. If you want to buy me a drink or coffee, here's my Venmo info. I have seen that multiple times.
It's not me. I wouldn't do it. Like, not give money, but I wouldn't put it out there like, buy me a drink.
I know. Well, I wouldn't be married to someone who's like, here's my Venmo. I would immediately call you and be like, take that down.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, just pop it in here right in the middle of the episode. Sorry to be annoying about it, but I want to tell you really quick about my friends at Polar Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air. I don't know about you, but it has been, where I'm at, it has been so up and down. One day you're like burning in your shorts. And then the next day it's raining. It's so rainy and we need the moisture. You keep hearing people say that, but really you're thinking, God, I'm cold. I'm chilled to the bone. I like to know that I have a furnace and AC unit to kind of flip back and forth anytime the weather changes because Colorado be crazy. And so I love my friends at Polar Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air because they just recently came out. We had Caleb Hart come out. That's the guy who works for them, one of the many wonderful employees. And he was so stellar. I'm not just saying this because they are a sponsor of the podcast. I'm saying it because the customer service from start to finish was A+. So much so that I did. I went on Yelp and I gave them an A+ review, which I hardly ever do. I need to do that more. I think I need to do that more. I really only want to do it when I'm really angry at a place, but not Polar Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air. I was so impressed. I felt compelled to jump on there and do that. That's the kind of customer service they have. Because lo and behold, when I got there to leave the review, guess what? There were a bunch of other people who had already beat me to the punch. And that says a lot about the business you're working with. So with spring, get that system checkup to make sure that it is running in tip-top shape. These are your go-to people. They're available 24/7, 365. My friends at Polar Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Just go to polarbearpha.com. Yeah. Speaking of Take That Down, I just want to do a quick note here that the Scott and Sadie podcast, it's on hiatus.
Okay.
And so, okay, Ryan knows everything. So he's like,
sure.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So just people have been asking about that and it's taken a little hiatus and who knows what's going to happen with it. It's kind of, the podcasting world is hard because you have to be so consistent with it.
Yeah.
And it has to be something that people can rely on. And radio is a lot like that, but it's a lot different than that. So you just have to be consistent and I don't know. I feel like I don't know where I'm going with that.
That's all right. You can listen to you here, and it sounds like I'm going to be bantering with you quite a bit on this stuff. So.
You are. You know what? I've never been a work alone person. Yeah. It is very hard for me. I have gotten better, though. And I feel like I'm getting better and better with that because I do, and it'll be tomorrow, every Friday, I do the weekly roundup brought to you by Christiana Salon Spa. They're the presenting sponsor. And, that's hard to do because you're essentially talking to yourself for 30 minutes. And the whole time I'm thinking, is this do people care about what I'm talking about right now? It's weird because you don't have the feedback necessarily that you have with radio. People are so cool and they reach out and they comment on Facebook posts and they comment on videos and stuff. So that's cool. But for the most part, it's very odd because you're talking to yourself the whole time. And so I said, you got to come and sit and riff with me.
Apparently that's what I'm doing now.
And I'm also talking to Kelly and I'm also talking to Stephanie and I'm also talking, Misty G. Every time we have an episode. No, at this point, every time we have an episode, I accidentally say her name and then her and I laugh about it. So I'm not even going to edit that out.
There you go.
But Dr. Gemstone, she's still coming on the show. So I still get to talk to different people. We're still going to be interviewing different people with interesting things going on. But other than that, we're going to be talking about, damn it, Highway to Heaven.
Highway to Heaven and Sailing with Phoenix.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I think that's interesting if anybody wants to follow that. This guy just went rogue and he was just like, I am
curious what he's going to do.
Yeah, what is he? Then again, I hope he gets to Hawaii and I hope he works on a beach and sells canoe. Oh, I just said canoe trips, but then I just told that alligator eating story. But again, it's not in Florida. It's in Hawaii, which I feel is much safer. Speaking of Kelly with Murder Monday, we're going to be doing that monthly. But the thing with Kelly is every story that she tells that's just out of control is Florida.
Oh, yeah.
It comes from, what is the deal with Florida?
I don't know. You've heard the term Florida man, right?
No.
If you look up I don't know what the definition of it is, but when anybody's crazy, cracked out mugshot, random ass story, they go Florida man because it's always a news headline. Florida man does this. Florida man does this.
I've never heard of
Florida
that
man
before.
does it. So now it's been, Florida man.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it always happens there. It's not like Colorado man does this thing.
It's
Iowa man
always
does this
Florida
thing.
people.
Florida man does this. So
I wonder why.
But I'm inspired by Phoenix, and I don't think my goals are big enough. I need to have bigger goals.
Ryan came to me the other day with a goal, and it's a health and fitness goal.
Sure.
Which I think majority of goals that people have, wouldn't you say, are health and fitness related?
Financial, health.
Something like that.
Sure.
You have a goal.
Personal goal, want to do it. Short-term goal, great. But this guy, I just can't get over. He quit his job.
Yeah.
And is sailing to Hawaii, and he's never sailed before. It just makes you think you got to have bigger goals. This guy, he did this. That's great. I
have a goal. It is a dream.
Okay.
There is a house that I'm in love with.
Sure.
That's my goal. Now it's a $5 million house. So
5.1.
It's a big ass.
Maybe if you offer 5, you'll get it, Sid.
Maybe. I've even thought to myself, I should book a tour. But there are some houses that are so fancy and that are so expensive.
You have to get approved.
You have to get pre-approval before they'll even show you the inside of the house.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my thing is I'd be like, I'd like to set up a tour. And then they'd be like, well, we got to pre-approve you. And then I'd hang up in a panic. I'd be like, never mind.
Okay. So there's the house. That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Okay.
It's a big goal. I mean, maybe I should start with smaller goals, but I feel like a $5 million house is a lot more reachable than me having a 6-pack at the age of 42, which Ryan did you did such a great husband answer because I said, you know what? My goal is by June 1st, I want to lose 10 pounds. And he goes,
hold on.
You don't have what?
Every single husband knows the answer to that.
Oh my God, you nailed it. He goes, you don't have to lose 10 pounds. You'd be practically nothing. And I'm like, oh, bonus points for you. 1, 2, 3, boobies. So that's my goal.
Perfect. You don't have to do that though.
Oh, look at you. You're nailing it left and right.
I do what I can. Lots of years of learning. Lots of years. If we were, together for 6 months or 9 months or, something short term, and you would be like, I want to lose 10 pounds. I'd be like, great, let's work out. Let's do this. Let's do that. And then you would look at me side face and be like, do you think I need to lose 10 pounds?
Well, the thing about it is, this is just me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have willpower with their goals. But I couldn't imagine saying like, I want to lose 10 pounds and then eating something and having you say, if you want to lose 10 pounds, we have friends where they hold each other super, super accountable.
Right. And she'll have like an Oreo and he goes, that's going to cut into your diet, right?
Yeah. So she eats it in the pantry with the door closed. I don't want to live that life. I just want to straight up eat the Oreos, but I also want to lose 10 pounds. I also want this $5.1 million home. Visualization.
There you go.
You know how I was talking the other day, Ryan, about taking a social media break? That lasted.
You didn't do it.
That lasted 24 hours.
I was waiting to bring this up because 24 hours after you did that, you were talking to me about something on social media, and I didn't say anything. But I just thought to myself, I'm like, that break didn't last long.
It really didn't.
Speaking of your willpower.
I know. You know what I'm going to have to do when I'm finally going to take a full-on break? I need to just deactivate.
Yeah.
But that's a huge step. There's no going back. Why am I so weird about that? There's no going back. I think it's because I have so many years worth of pictures and videos and memories that are saved that go back so far that I don't want to lose all that stuff.
Yeah, I get it.
That but again, look at me. I'm such a loser. I made it about 24 hours.
Of it being on your phone.
And I was talking big. I'm like, look, I feel lighter. I feel better.
So do you think that $5.1 million house and that goal and all the willpower it would take to get there is harder than having social media off your phone as a goal?
Yeah. Why do I think everything is harder than getting this house? I don't know, but which is the most bombastic of all my dreams.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I did see you lasted about 24 hours with it on. What was the thing?
You know what it was? The P. Diddy trial.
You can get that news just about anywhere.
I know, but it's so easy because it's streamlined like crack into my veins because
the algorithm feeds
the
you
algorithm is like, this girl loves to hear about what's going on in the P. Diddy trial. And so it feeds me like TikTok, Instagram. That's all I'm seeing right now. And I find myself hearing the same stories because, you know, you can only spin a day's worth of testimony in this trial so many ways.
Yeah.
But
so why don't you just once a day log on to the news and see what the updates were?
Because I just have no desire. I want to just, I want to do it this way.
You want to, how many more social media apps did you re-download?
There's no more Snapchat.
Okay. So you took off these things and then you put back on which ones?
TikTok.
1.
Instagram.
2.
And Facebook.
3. So you put 3 social media
3 out of 4
back on your phone.
Baby steps.
Okay.
I think it's time that I give an update on the P. Diddy trial because we're almost
because you
out
know
of time.
so much about it.
I do. So yesterday, I'm going to be giving just these quick updates in every episode. Yesterday, because I'm sorry, I'm so into this. But yesterday, during the court trial, his ex-girlfriend of many years testified, and it is rough. This poor girl, she is about to have a baby any day now. And P. Diddy is just a disgusting piece of garbage. Like, they interviewed her. Well, they got her testimony. She's going to be going on the stand. She's going to be going on the stand again today. And it's awful what he did. But he's in a lot of trouble with racketeering, which I didn't know what racketeering was. But it's multiple things that you're in trouble for, like multiple. And he's in a lot of trouble. They say the sex trafficking thing, that is from hiring, you know, prostitutes to come from out of state into the state. And that's sex trafficking. I am an idiot, and I thought sex trafficking was just like kidnapping somebody and making them be a prostitute, but that's not it. I mean, I'm sure it is partly it, but I also... I'm learning so much. You know, this social media is really helpful. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Sadie and Friends. Why do I have such a hard time ending the show every time?
Just end it.
I'm going to end it. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Going to give another shout out to an amazing sponsor. They've been with me for so long. It's Christiana Salon Spa. Go to christianasalonspa.com and make that appointment. Whether you want to go in and get a fresh new look, you got to get a fade. I think that's what the kids call it. You want to make sure that your hair looks good. The last time I went into Christiana, it's been too long, but I got my hair colored and it was like this Coca-Cola color. Oh, I loved it so much, but it's starting to kind of wear off. So I'm going to be making another appointment. But if you want a massage, you want a facial, you want to get your nails done, maybe you're planning a girl's day. This is the perfect place for a girl's day. It is bougie inside and out, but it is reasonably priced. So why wouldn't you go check them out? They're in Johnstown, right by the Shields. Christiana Salon Spa, a proud sponsor of the Sadie and Friends podcast.